It says we're going live. Hey, I'm trying a new sound system, which sounds very echoey to me, but maybe you can let me know how it sounds. I'll unplug it, but after over a year of just using what I had with my computer, I'm trying an actual microphone and headphones, but it sounds a little weird to me. Let me know how well you can hear, especially when our guest arrives. Thank you, Supconnect. I am Kristen Thomas, and I am thrilled to be here, excited to be interviewing a good friend of mine who I haven't seen in a while, so I get to see her on screen and hopefully in person. I'm going to call her a Renaissance woman of SUP. Maggie Adams, originally, I believe, from Florida, maybe Northern California. Now she's lived both of those places. Does so many things. I'm going to call her a SUP activist, a SUP influencer. She's an instructor. She has a paddle business. She races, she surfs, and is doing a lot of good stuff. So thanks for coming today. Thanks for joining us. I am excited to invite Maggie Adams, best known for, or in San Diego County, I would say North San Diego, where she has her business, also all over Southern California, but internationally, as we'll talk about, because with people from all over the world. So I hit the accept button. Yay!
Hey,
There she is. Can you
how's it
hear me okay?
going?
I'm trying something new. I'm not using these. I have an actual microphone. Can you hear me okay? Okay. Hey, Craig, how you doing? Although it's spinning right now, I see lots of hearts. We're happy to see you, Maggie. I don't know if you can probably hear me, but right now your little internet thing is spinning. Hopefully that's not my end. Oh, hey, you even got... Hi, Shan. Are you at school today? And Mr. Fowler, I'm just saying hello to people. Shoot, we lost her. I saw her there perfectly for a moment. I'm glad you can hear well. We've had some sound issues in the past, and somebody told me, I guess the speaker on this is a problem sometimes when you hit things. Macedonia, I think. Paddle Club with a K. Thanks so much for being with us again. Probably have Joseph, one of our regulars, who actually knows. Isn't that true, Johnny? Oh my gosh, it's so true.
Okay,
Sometimes the closest people have the worst, like, reception issues. You don't live that far from me. You're only an hour away.
my house is a little bit glitchy, so I'm on my iPad because my iPhone's been kind of in and out all day, but
Okay,
hopefully,
well, that's cool.
yeah.
I didn't know it even works from an iPad, but you've become Miss Technology, right? Among many,
Oh,
many other things.
I guess, I don't know. It's
Well,
hard to
we have
say.
lots to talk about, Maggie. There's so many things that you do in the stand-up paddle world, but I don't think I couldn't remember if I know how you got started or where you first saw it or where you first tried. So what's your getting into stand-up paddling story?
So the first time I actually went paddle, well, okay, so we moved to California to San Diego in 2007. Before that, we were living in Connecticut. So when I came out here, I was not a paddle person, that wasn't, doing anything on the water then. And, occasionally swim, but, wasn't paddling. But they were out on the water and they were calling them sweepers. It was big deal here in Southern California, that, oh, these sweepers are out here in the ocean, they're taking all the waves. And and I'm like, okay, what is this sweepers, So basically it was stand-up paddleboarders out in the surf. So I actually went paddleboarding the first time was probably at the Carlsbad Lagoon where I do my instruction. I rented boards with a friend of mine, and I think it was in the summer. I don't even know when it was, but we wore our shorty wetsuits, thinking, oh, we're going to fall in, we're going to be cold, we're going to get wet. And none of that happened. And then a place opened up on the lagoon that was teaching lessons. They had opened up like a whole gym. And this is 2013. They opened up a paddleboard club. And Pam Strom was teaching there. So,
Remember Pam?
yeah, Pam. So, she actually was my first coach. So, I went there not knowing anything. And then she's like, oh, we got to get you racing. And I'm like, no, I'm not racing. So, and then I think it was like, 6 months or so after that, I'm like, oh, what kind of race board can I get? What should I do? Anyway, so that's kind of how it all started. And then, got into, went and got my certification with JC and Helen. We went and all got our American Canoe Association certification for SUP. And, you know, played with the surf and stuff like that, just was playing around more or less, and did my first race, 2013 was Hano Hano. So I think that's a lot of people's first races. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really a great place to start. And it's funny because it's January, it's winter, but winter in Southern California, we're spoiled. We get to do this year round. And it's amazing the draw that it has. Like you, I started in a wetsuit until somebody told me you don't have to wear a wetsuit when you're just paddling.
Yeah.
So you became a sweeper, and you
Yeah.
got swept up in it all, because soon after that, the next year is when you started Blue Paddle SUP
Right.
there in North County, San Diego, in Carlsbad Lagoon.
Right.
So you were instructing and you were teaching, and I know you've always been a student as well as a teacher, because I know I took a paddle fit course with you, so I think you have probably multiple certifications.
Yes.
I'm guessing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So getting people started, mostly private stuff. I know you do some group. But,
yeah, I did a lot of groups I did groups a lot in the beginning, but since I'm a mobile business, it's a little harder, you know, lugging all the stuff, you know, to the lagoon on my van, or I never got a trailer. I never went, you know, like all out that way. Yeah, so I used to do 5 people mostly, and then I did some people 10, you know, I'd have people come and help me out, some local paddlers that helped me out as well. I joined forces with a couple of, you know, companies and stuff, and worked together, and, you know, borrowed boards or rented boards from them. And so that's been good, you know, but I like the smaller, you know, intimate one-on-one, or 2 people, 3 people. I like that, you know, a lot. And I just feel you get so much more out of it, you know, the instruction and the enjoyment of being on the water, as opposed to a big group. You kind of get lost in just the shuffle of, you know, okay, here's how you stand up paddle, and then everybody just kind of does their own thing, you know? So anyway, but it's more fun, you know? So group is more fun in the fact that you can go out and have a good time and not worry about instructing. You know, I like that about groups, you know, where I'm not instructing and just joining in and doing group paddles. I love doing that. Yeah.
Well, it seems like you've really built that, because you bring more people into it. And then even as individual as a sport it is, and we've talked about that a lot, it's about community and meeting other people, and people really do love, like we do, that aspect of it. So starting a business isn't everybody's thing. You're such a self-starter. I mean, even going to get a certification, you know, so many people are so hesitant. So you're definitely in that 20% that go start stuff. And we're going to talk about a bunch of other things you've started too. But it's interesting too, to also be a learner and change over time. And you more recently have changed the name of your business, keeping the Blue Paddle, but instead of SUP, Blue Paddle Mind. And I have really, really enjoyed that side of it, and what, you know, the peaceful things that you're posting on your Blue Paddle Mind. But you're still instructing and still doing that too, but the focus has changed. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so I'm still instructing, doing one-on-one. My goal is to kind of to get people to donate lessons for people that are needing more mental health, or, you know, more blue mind in their life. So I'm still working on that piece. I recently took a therapist out, and she, you know, was talking about she'd love to work with me somehow. You know, she works with trauma patients and stuff like that, brain trauma and things like that. So so it's just a matter of getting those in place, those things in place. But yeah, so I started my my Women's Wellness Wednesday, which I do raise money for nonprofits, and I try to focus on women nonprofits, or, you know, ones that are helping out the environment, the community, local nonprofits. And, you know, it's not a lot that we're doing yet. I mean, you know, it takes time to grow these things, but it's been really fun. I mean, meeting so many different women, you know, that may not have come out to paddleboard in the first place. And then also finding out about all these nonprofits that need help. You know, I mean, they're on such small budgets, and, you know, some of the women's resources centers around here. And then there was a North County Cancer Fitness Group, and they're just, you know, they're all nonprofits, but they're just getting by on, you know, donations as well. And so it's been really interesting. And it's really, I like all the connections, you know, I'm making and stuff, and just the the networking has been really interesting. Like when I did Paddle for Recovery for Cassie, who's out on the East Coast, you know, I contacted her. I think this was our second. This is our second one. We couldn't do it last year, so I contacted her and I said, hey, I'd love to do this in San Diego. And so I think it, you know, she ended up doing a few more teams as well around the U.S. So that's been really fun. So doing a free class for people that are recovering from cancer. And that was just at the end of September that we did that. And so I met a woman in there who also does this other group called Be Yoga or Be Therapy or something like that. And they do yoga for cancer patients. So it's just interesting, the networking. She's like, oh, you should get a hold of them and do yoga on the beach with them, and they could paddleboard. And, you know, so it's opened up like this whole other area of community and fun and different aspect of SUP that, you know, I find myself in anyway.
Yeah, wonderful connections you've made. And that's great that you've both reached out to people like Casey and expanded her program. And then like you contacted NAMI, which is a Southern California great organization that has a walk. And you said, can I do a paddle? And so I've done that with you the last couple of years as a fundraiser for them.
That happened because of COVID, you know, because they had to go virtual. And so it was basically walk your way so you could do anything. And that's what, I mean, I should have put that on my little intro. I'm like, why didn't I put that on there? That was like my, you know, like my into, you know, starting the nonprofit and Blue Paddle Mind, because I wanted to do something for mental health. So yeah, and I'm going to continue to do that one. I like that one a lot. That's a really great one. And, you know, with the pandemic and everything, we all need it more so than ever, need that mental health aspect in our lives, you know. Just, yeah. And
mention, we've mentioned it before, but not everybody out there knows about it, the book, Blue Mind, and kind of what that's about.
Right. So basically, you know, being in and around or near water, that it's, you know, good for your brain, good for your health, and just overall a good thing instead of the red mind, you know, red mind versus blue mind, right? So yeah, there's actually this woman in the UK somewhere. She does blue mind coaching. Like, you can go get certified. I'm like,
really?
Yeah. I'm like, cool. I think it's like a Dorset or something. I don't know. And I'm like, oh, that'd be interesting. Another certification, but it just, you know, doing things around the ocean and in the ocean. And so yeah, Wallace J. Nichols, Blue Mind, you know, read the book, right? Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of us really connect then why we really are addicted to water, but how good a thing it is.
Yeah.
And did you already know that book when you named your business, or did that come?
No, I was reading the book. I'd already read the book, and and I think, you know, it's kind of like I should have done like Blue Mind Body or Blue Mind, I don't know, paddle kind of limits me, but then it's like, okay, well, whatever, maybe I'll change it, you know, add on to it or something. But because I want to do, you know, this big thing about going in the ocean, in the water, you know, the cold water, and I think that'd be fun. I know some women are doing this, you know, they go in the mornings and they go in the ocean, you know, and in the winter time when it's cold, and that's supposed to be really great for you as well, you know. So
yeah, I think did you do a little bit of that training, the Wim Hof or something, or the ice baths, but cold, the whole cold idea. But also those are two big things, because there is also a fear of ocean, and like learning about and how to love the ocean and understanding that piece of Mother Nature. Wow. Good stuff. I didn't even know you were headed that direction. Well,
I don't know. It's just something I think I'd like to add into, you know, because it's supposed to be really good for your mental health. So, you know, I have, you know, paddle and water adventures.
Yeah, no, I love it. And if anybody can do it, Maggie, you can do it.
Oh,
and,
right.
I mean, but there is so much mesh between mind and body, and how important they are to each other and how integrated. And that's one thing I think in like Western medicine that has been skipped, is that nutrition and mental health and all of that is part of your physical health. And when you do become an athlete, I think sometimes you're more in tune with and have had injuries like, you know, you have and stuff, how to deal with that. And because it affects us both mentally and physically, when our ups and our downs.
Yeah. Because we know when we can't get on the water, we start going a little, you know, mental.
Another one that you have supported for years and was in person for years, and is coming up this Saturday. You're putting on a Stand Up for the Cure, which is they switched from virtual to they're calling them micro events this year. Instead of just
Right.
huge events, they're trying to have smaller ones, but not limited, I don't think. So best of luck with that. But tell people what that is for those out there who aren't familiar with Stand Up for the Cure.
Yeah, so this Saturday, yeah, so Stand Up for the Cure is run by a local guy, Dan Van Dyke, and he usually has it in Newport and then I think somewhere up in Michigan, a couple other places, but because of COVID, they had to go virtual last year, but I know in 2022 they are going back to live, so that will be awesome. So Dan had to, you know, pivot like we all did a little bit, right? You know, so he set up the virtual events, and I was like, so I grabbed onto it last year and had one at the lagoon, and we probably had about 30 people. And one of our paddlers, Dolores, she brought masks for everyone, so that was pretty funny. You know, so we were all covered with our masks, paddling. I think we took them off when we got on the water, but you know, we're on the beach and stuff together. So yeah, Stand Up for the Cure raises money for educating women and the public on getting your mammograms, you know, doing your breast checks and stuff. So it's Susan G. Komen organization, but they do a lot of good stuff for breast cancer mostly. So yeah, so this Saturday we're having one. I'm not sure how many people are coming, but I think it's going to be a good sized group this year, and we all wear pink, so it's going to be, I love, you know, I mean, you and I have done it before where we dress up and kind of have a theme. So I've been busy doing that. I'm like, okay, what am I going to do this year? So I have my pink wig and, you know, pink tutu. So yeah, it'll be a sea of pink, right, on the lagoon. So yeah, looking forward to it. Yeah.
Yeah, you've mentioned, and I think you do a really good job of integrating things that are meaningful and also a lot of fun, and you can put those together and
yes,
you know, in community. Great to have all of that going on. Yeah. Well, we've got a lot of people are saying hi. I don't know if you can see this as it scrolls by, but you've got a whole bunch of hellos here from all over the world, not just the U.S. I know Harrison from Michigan. There's some organization, but I'll look at it later what he wanted to.
Why is he saying Michigan is stupid?
I'm not sure exactly what he means by that.
Yeah.
That's their Stand Up for the Cure. I don't know if that can be used in a good and a bad way. And Evelyn from Germany. We've got Macedonia. What was somebody has said hola Maggie twice. Califas Escuela de SUP.
That must be Miguel, maybe.
I know it's funny. Instagram names you don't always know the names. Yeah. Well, Maggie says hello back to all of you.
You two could be sisters.
Hey, we could. I think we've been told that before, huh? I'm the older one.
You actually are not. You're the younger one.
Yeah, but I'm like a big sister type. I'm the oldest in I have a younger sister. Don't you have older sisters? And you're the youngest?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I have one younger sister.
Mike says hi. He's here. Hi, Mike. Hi, Jamie.
Mike Isert.
Lots of alohas. Oh, and Kristen and I from Kristen and Johnny from Rhode Island. So fun.
We miss you. Yes, I was right about Mikael.
Mikael
is Cal. Yeah.
That's right. They had that one fun surf contest. Well, I do want to bring up, and one of the reasons you're known internationally, but I think not everybody knows, is you started a Facebook group that I don't know if you knew it was going to get. I mean, how many thousands do you have on there now?
Well, I can get bigger because I see some groups, but it's at like 16,000. But you figure with SupChat, well, with Sup, it's kind of a, you know, niche group anyway. But yeah, but we have.
Well, that is a ton of people for a niche group, and I love that it's definitely a very active group and lots of different kinds of posts. And Maggie, it doesn't work all by itself. You do a really good job of saying hello and welcoming people. I mean, maybe you should. It's funny because you and I both don't feel like tech people, I don't think, but you really, there's a combination of understanding the tech, but also the personality and the personal part of it all. So I think you make a really good job of making sure people are acknowledged. And, you know, I don't know how much you have to do on like taking posts off or if people post inappropriate stuff, but it's got to be a lot of work with 16,000 possible posting people.
Yeah, it can be, but people are really good kind of about watchdogging too, because I get people reporting other people about, because I don't watch, I don't look at a thread, you know, sometimes you get a thread that's got 30 comments on it and somebody kind of says something that's not very kind. And somebody will report them. I'm like, yeah, that is not very nice. So I just delete them.
Oh. Well, that's good that you have people helping you. Watch out.
Yeah.
Oh, Winnie is on here. He's calling us legends. Isn't that so
Oh, Winnie.
nice? Yes, we both love what we do. Thank you so much. Mikhail wants to know if there's going to be a Santa surf.
I don't know. I think I probably so. I think they had one this year. I just didn't go.
Yeah, and it
Yeah.
ended up not being a SUP race, just a SUP surf,
I
I
think
think, or
this did
something
surf.
like that.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I mean, it's still a challenge in pandemic times and other things too. I'm kind of excited because even though this got canceled
Oh, the
originally,
hoot.
the
Yeah.
hoot, now you can go because you were right, because you were
Right. I was
visiting
away. Yeah.
Florida when it
Yeah.
originally got canceled because of the oil spill,
Right.
which is not good. Yeah,
Exactly.
Craig is asking, are you
Yeah.
coming to the hoot?
Okay, hoot. Yeah. Yeah. I'm coming to see you, Craig. I can beat you.
Yeah. But so besides like having to monitor and making sure to introduce new people and asking them to introduce themselves, I mean, are there any other tips? I mean, how do you start a group and grow it to 16,000 so
Oh,
authentically?
gosh, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of, I think, it is just, or it is organic, you know, that it just kind of took off. I think, you know, friends see that their friends are part of it. I mean, you get notices telling people that, and it's like, oh, okay, I'll join that. But, you know, it's interesting because I know I'm part of some groups and people don't respond. And I'm like, oh, you know, like I write them and say, hey, is it okay to do this or do that? And I never hear from them. So, I think, you know, that's part of it, being out there and acknowledging people and saying, you know, when they do post something that, you know, they get some feedback. I mean, it's all about, I mean, social media, it's social. It's not, you know, just put stuff out there so people aren't acknowledged or looked at, or, you know, so, I don't know. I mean, it's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's gotten, you know, interesting criticism and in some ways very valid, but it's so for our sport, I think it's really been such a hub and a place to find each other. And so many
Yeah.
times I have seen someone in person and I can't remember if I've actually met them before or
Oh,
if I
right.
just know
Yeah.
their face so well
Yeah.
because we're
Yeah.
Facebook friends
Oh, I
and
know,
we've
right?
interacted.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you see them, you're like, oh, hey, how are the kids? You know, like you know them or something. It's like, okay, well, yeah. Anyway, yeah,
Uh,
it's interesting.
Well,
Yeah.
McCall wants us to come to Ecuador. I think we should.
Yeah. Okay, let's go retreat in Ecuador.
Yeah. Gary just joined from NorCal. Mel's back up in Alaska. So good to
Nice.
see all of you guys. Yeah. And you started another, I think you're really good at spotting a need maybe. And Sup Chat is so nice and open. And like you said, Sup itself is really a niche. So 16,000 is a lot. And yet it's such a versatile craft and like a crossover water sport, and it's bringing people to the water. But then you have a very specific one where you saw a need, like boards for sale in Southern California.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I didn't know you started that, but that's a really useful tool when somebody's trying to sell a board.
Yeah, I think it gets a lot of business. I mean, I'm not sure how, I don't know how many people are selling boards on there, but I mean, I have a few regulars that sell boards on there, so it must be moving something for them. And a lot of times people will be texting me and asking me, hey, I'm looking for a board, or I give some people lessons and they ask, you know, where can I get a board? And a lot of times I do, it depends, you know, how beginner they are, you know, and I'll let them know about the site, you know, and check it out. And, so yeah, it's interesting. I feel like I'm what do you call it? A board negotiator or board, you know, matchup, you know, it's kind of like, oh, I found a board for you, or, you know, somebody that I've given a lesson to, you know, they're always very inquisitive about, well, what do you recommend? And, I mean, it's kind of like, gosh, I wish before the pandemic I had boards, you know, because it just took off, right? I mean, it's like, man, why wasn't I selling inflatables or selling something, you know? It's like, miss that bandwagon, or you missed that train.
Yeah, well, and the
Yeah.
resale market didn't happen at the beginning, but has gotten bigger and grown. And then we have this whole explosion of paddling during the pandemic, and a lot of people bought online and such, but that's making there be shortages in some places. And so it's a good time to sell, maybe. I don't know. It's such a strange market right now in so many ways
Yeah.
with shipping problems and everything.
Right,
But,
right, yeah.
But what
yeah.
I just find it useful. That's where I will check first before a Craigslist or, you know, a random post on Facebook, because it is geographically central to Southern California. So most likely it's a board you could go try, or a
Right,
board
right,
you wouldn't have to pay for shipping and that kind of thing. So very
right,
useful.
right.
You
Yeah, and
do
I
have
try
a
to keep people off
question
of
here.
it. Oh,
Yeah.
what? You have a question?
Yeah, where did it go? Mikkel wants to know about certifications. He's said, what are the benefits of getting a certificate in SUP? He's saying it's not required in South America and there aren't many schools.
Well, it's not required here either. I mean, you don't need a certificate for SUP yoga, SUP surfing. The benefit of it is that you get some knowledge that people don't have. I mean, I didn't know like some of the strokes that I've learned. I did not know about, you know, some of those. And then also it helps with insurance. So if you run a business, you need to be certified in order to get. You don't need to be certified, but it helps with the the amount you pay for your insurance. So that'd be another benefit. But yeah, just the knowledge that you get about water safety. I mean, because the ACA really does a lot on safety. I think ASI as well. I think that's more the European one. Yeah, so it's just your knowledge that you know more than, I mean, the person that you're taking out, and that if something does go wrong, you're able to help them, or you're also able to help them with the correct stroke technique and, you know, just coaching. I mean, I didn't know anything when I did it. And it's like, oh, when I came out, I was like, wow, okay. I felt just more confident in my skills as far as being able to take people out. And as I've grown and been doing stand-up, it's continued to grow. I mean, I was counting today, thinking about all the coaches I've had. I mean, I think I counted up to 9 people that I've actually, you know, did a clinic with, or did a weekend with, or, you know, did a certification with. And there's always something you can learn. I mean, there's always just some little tidbit you can take away that it's like, oh, I could use that, or wow, that's really cool. Like, you know, I mean, so I try to pass that on to people. So that's another reason to get certified and to go do coaching and clinics, is that you learn something that maybe somebody else doesn't know, that you can pass on to them, that will help their paddling. So yeah, always
Great answer. And yeah, the safety aspect, I think, is one of the ones.
Mm-hmm.
The ocean and water is to be respected, and it's really cool that we're bringing people. We don't always have water people, you know, a lot of water sports, it's just a crossover of people who already are comfortable in the ocean or water, and that's such a big deal. And sometimes I'm really shocked by, you don't want them to be afraid, but you need to have a healthy respect for all aspects of Mother Nature, but especially water. And you need to be able to, especially if you're going to be a teacher, rescue someone and rescue yourself. And there's people, SUP yoga, for instance, is one that definitely have struggled with that. You may be a guru in the top of your game in yoga, but if you're bringing people onto the water, you need to know the differences between the types of yoga, but more than anything, like all about water. So
right.
Well,
And, you know, they also teach you about guiding and, you know, working with groups and, you know, things that you just wouldn't, you can probably find it online, but it's just stuff that you probably may not know. So, and it's going to depend on your coach too. I mean, I had a great coach, Jose Gonzalez, who's been with the American Canoe Association for a really long time. He is a great coach, and, you know, I owe, you know, what I'm doing to him, you know, in the long run. You know, we have some great coaches around, right? It's just like, So.
Yeah, and then to your point, and just continuing to learn in clinics. I still absolutely love clinics. Had a substitute coach the other morning, and she said stuff I've never heard that way. Even if it's the same thing, hearing it a different way, like you said, you can pass it on and use it for yourself. Great stuff. Yeah.
You know, it's like our brains all work different. You know, like I could tell one guy one thing about, okay, you should do this for a buoy turn, but then somebody else will tell him it another way, and it's like, oh, that really clicks for me. You know, so yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So thank you, Mikal, for the question. I'm glad you appreciate the answers. He said gracias a bunch of times.
De nada, de nada.
Yeah, so we've been talking about all the stuff you do, the give back, and you're instructing and events that you've created, but you also are, I know you love SUP surfing. I know you've had some injuries, and I don't know if you can right now, but and SUP racing. So tell us some, maybe it's favorite places or favorite races, or let's talk story a bit about all of those things, because you've been to many events. I usually try to wear a shirt like from something that, and I'm like, I could wear a whole bunch of shirts that we've both been to. What do you
I'm
have
wearing my
on?
paddler shirt from La
Yeah,
Jolla
like nice
Invitational. I'm
bright
like, all
orange.
right. Oh, yeah, the orange. I have another one from the Gorge. It says
Gorge.
Racer on it, the pink one, which I
Yeah.
love too. But yeah, I was like, okay, I'm gonna wear this because this is, appropriate for today.
Yep. Love those neon colors. Yeah.
Yeah. So, boy, I don't know. I mean, I haven't been to that many places. Somebody texted me the other day and said, "Hey, my son plays college football. Where are your favorite places to go sup? I can go. I'm all over the U.S." I'm like, "Oh wow. Well, I haven't really been in that many places, to sup, but I helped her out some though, so that was good. It was like the one I picked, Florida. I'm like, my family's from. She's like, oh yeah, my friend invited me down there, so it worked out. I was like, oh, of all places, So, but gosh, a favorite place, of course, to me is up in the Hood River. That's a very special place. I would love to go to Hawaii sometime and go see JC and do some downwinding and surfing with her and everyone, but yeah, that's on the list. Yeah. But yeah, the Hood's a very special place and I really miss it. I haven't been now I think 3 years, so need to get up there. Yeah.
That is a special place. Yeah.
What's that? Yeah. And Florida was really fun. I had never I've only paddleboarded there once with my family, and so when I went back, not this time but time before, I got to paddle with the manatees, and that was really cool. I mean, I just was like, I didn't paddle with the manatees. I just so happened to see one, like we're out there paddling, and we just gone into like the mangrove tunnels and stuff, and that was really cool. Mm-hmm. And I'm paddling along, and I look down, and I'm like, there's a huge rock. I'm like, oh my God. And I thought I was going to hit it, and then it moved. I was just going, oh my God. So anyway, it was a manatee.
Yeah.
So I hadn't ever seen one like that. So that was pretty cool.
They are amazing creatures, and they do just look like big rocks, and they're so slow moving, and they're, I guess they're most closely related to elephants. Like if you're not supposed to touch them, but if you do get the opportunity, I guess they have a rough, like kind of skin, and they're just slow.
Maybe we could ask Sup Love, since she had her video a few days ago, she had like this encounter with the manatees down there. Yeah. So, so I guess, and I love California. We have so many great places here. Even my little lagoon. I mean, I wasn't there for 10 days and I got there. I missed it. It's like, oh, home, you just feel like you're home again. And actually, John and I were out paddling yesterday.
With a unicorn.
Oh, yeah. With the
what
unicorn.
Was that?
Well, because of the big winds that we had, the Santa Ana winds a few days ago, that was the second round of float pool toys that we found. I had found a couple other ones out there too the day before.
Oh, you just found that?
Yeah, it was on the shore. Yeah, so we were taking it in to, somebody reclaim it, whatever. But we found somebody found a kayak out there floating around on Tuesday. Today's Thursday. Yeah, on Tuesday, I think. But yesterday, John and I were paddling, and we're, I'm sitting there talking, and we're probably this far apart from each other. He looks down, he's like, there's a turtle. There was a turtle right between our boards. I mean,
really?
He's probably about this big around. Yeah, so the lagoon has turtles, just you hardly ever see them. All you see is like their head pop up, and then they go down, because you're like, oh, there's a turtle, and then he hears you and he goes under. But John and I are paddling, and I swear we weren't but a board width apart from each other. And this turtle, John looks at me, he's like, there's a turtle, and it's just sunbathing. He's just laying at the top of the water. And I'm like, I have my GoPro with me, of course. It's just like, and, within seconds, he goes under, and we're just like, we scared each other. So it was pretty funny, but it was just like, John and I were both like, oh my God, can't believe that happened.
That's cool. And I love that you loved coming home to your lagoon. That's really
I know.
special. Yeah. Well, let's talk surf a little bit. And your spot is San Onofre, as is many of ours, our
Yeah.
favorite local spot. It's a little drive up for you, a little drive south for me.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't been there. I haven't been there lately. I don't know if you have.
I have not been either. It's
Yeah.
been a
But
couple of months. Yeah.
when did you still, I mean, it sounded like you saw maybe surfing from the very beginning with the sweepers and out in the waves, but when did you first start surfing yourself? And were you a surfer before, or did you go straight to stand up?
No, never have surfed before that. Yeah. I've boogie boarded, but and body surfed in Florida. We used to body surf all the time, but yeah, never surfed. But gosh, I'm trying to think when I first went. JC was having, I think, I might have gone, I don't know if I went to Cardiff or not, but JC was putting on an event for this homeless organization down in San Diego. I can't remember the name of it now, but Tom English was involved as well. So we all met. I think Stacy and Veronica, a few other people came. I can't remember who. Karen Sakul, I think. Anyway, a handful of us went and met that day in Carlsbad at the smokestacks, this near Terramar, but north of there. And basically, we didn't have much of a lesson. It was kind of like, okay, well, just go out here are the waves, just go out and catch some. And so it was a little bit, they were small, but we didn't really know what we were doing, and not a real lesson. So it was kind of interesting, but we had people kind of watching out for us and telling us kind of what to do, and but there was no like real official lesson that I can remember. But and so I think that's kind of how it started. And then I would take my 10.6 Riviera. Like, that board is so huge. I took it to trails one time. I got a certification for SUP surf, and I really felt like I was out of my league. So the American Canoe Association has a SUP surf. It's at level 3, and this is probably, I think it's 4 years ago maybe when I did it, and I was just starting to get more into SUP surfing, and so I went and I brought my 10.6 out to trails, and I have the picture of me on this. At the time, I thought it was a gigantic wave. I'll show it to you, but it was big. And I'm just like, I wrote it though, but it was just like, I'm like calling the guy next day or that night going, okay, I really don't think I should be doing this. I'm like, I just didn't feel like I had the confidence that if I get certified, I'm going to be able to teach other people this, because there's so much to take into consideration when you're in the surf and teaching people. Because even when I'm out there, it's like, okay, you really got to be confident in your skills and what you're doing. It's because it's not an easy, it looks easy, but it's not easy. It's always a work in progress. Even with paddleboard, it's a work in progress. And SUP surfing is always going to be a progression. I'm never going to be like, yeah.
But that's kind of an appeal to it too, is it's never boring because you can always get better at it, for sure.
Right.
The waves are never the same ever.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
So
Right.
Conditions are always make it very interesting.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
I love both, but I love that aspect of surfing, but it's also very humbling.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. So when people ask me, well, do you teach SUP surfing? I'm like, I know. Go call this guy, see if he'll take you out. I'm like, I don't even want to mess with it. I have a hard enough time teaching people like just to go through the surf on their board, just to get out through the ocean. I have a habit of, not a habit, but kind of yelling at people like, paddle, like don't be messing around. You got to charge those waves, it's like, yeah. So, anyway.
Well, that's good advice. Don't think of it as yelling at them. You're helping them out.
I know.
Get moving.
Yeah, I just don't want anybody to get hurt. I don't want them to get knocked off their board,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, anyway, I love the surfing aspect of it, and would love to go some more. I wish Santa was closer.
I know.
But I'm glad that the crowds are kind of gone, I guess, and so that's what I was kind of waiting for, like, 'cause it's just so crowded, it's just been crazy crowded. So anyway.
Yeah. And then we had the unfortunate oil spill, but hopefully that is moving along and getting cleaned up.
Yeah.
So through all these different things you do, you've used a lot of different equipment. And I know you have a favorite, but name names and share the kinds of stuff you've used for teaching and for yourself and racing and surfing and what you like right now.
Yeah, so I'm a fan of Jimmy Lewis. I've been using his boards for a really long time. When I first started doing teaching, I kind of first I started using Riviera boards because they were great for beginners. But then I got signed up with Jimmy Lewis. I mean, I'm an ambassador for them. So I ended up purchasing some. I have I don't know, I probably have 8 of his boards. I have, a couple of race boards. I have a 14 and a 12.6, and then I have 2 SUP surf boards, and then I have my lesson boards. So I love his boards. They're light. They're durable. They're great. They're great for the conditions here. The SUP surf boards are great for the conditions here. I have a quad, a 9-1 quad, and then I also have an 8.0 Super Frank that's more for smaller, bigger, faster waves. But I haven't used that one in a while. But yeah, I love his boards. He's in Hawaii. He's really gotten into more foil boards, doing a lot of foil. I think a lot of people are doing, a lot of more foils. So, and with the racing, with the pandemic, things kind of died off. So I think factory wise, they haven't been making boards. He can't make them in his shop on Hawaii. It's too small. So he has to, be in the factory in Vietnam, where the other guys are too, but still. But my 14 is pretty new, and so I still get a lot of enjoyment out of that one. It's 24.5 wide, I think. So I don't know if I ever go 23 or ever do the dugout. I just don't know. I mean, I like stability.
It's a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
We can talk that racing. It's funny to me, people who just want to go narrow. It's like, there's so many other factors, you guys, and you need to try that board. And narrow is different on different brands of boards and how, and it's not all about that. If you're wobbling all the time,
that I do not
you're
like.
not going to go fast.
Yeah. I mean, I love my 12.6, and I think it's hard to get 12.6 now. I think there's not too many companies making them anymore. So I think that's because of the pandemic, just, people aren't buying them. So why make them,
Right. Downsizing certain things, and then a lot more. I don't know if you see it in San Diego. In our harbor, it's inflatables is what a lot of people bought during the pandemic.
Yeah, so many inflatables. And I've had people call me, recently I had a woman call me. She's like, I can ride my husband's hardboard, but he got me an inflatable and I can't ride the inflatable. And I'm like, well, I can help you. I said, but it could be the rail, the size of the rails. There's so many aspects of the inflatable. Like this woman also that I just met, she was out on a windy day on her inflatable and didn't have her leash on, and she lost her board, and it's like, she's trying to swim in, and it's just, So, the inflatable, they're great for traveling.
Yes.
Or transporting, or if you don't have the room, storage. But I wouldn't want to I love my hardboard. I just, it's just different. It's just better glide, it's just good. Yeah.
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 Yeah. Harrison put it well, what we were just talking about. Faster on the water than in it is kind of has to be. How narrow do you really want to go?
For sure. Yeah.
There's a happy place for everyone, and it's different for everyone. He also earlier was inviting us or telling us we should go to Michigan, by the way.
Well, my son is in Marquette, Harrison, so I'm planning on getting, I know that's probably a lot further from where you are, but I am planning on getting there because I want to go, go to Lake Superior and, or the Great Lakes and go paddleboard there for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Great. Good stuff. Yeah. So, tips. Oh, is that your puppy?
It's my husband.
He's barking.
I think the puppy's around here somewhere, though.
So, how about some tips for, what should you give? You could give tips on so many different things. I mean, we talked about just getting into paddling, for getting started. So back to Bernie's here too. Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana. Okay, we got to add some more Midwest states up there.
Yeah, so I am from the Midwest, actually, guys. I'm from Illinois, Southern Illinois, down by Belleville. Maybe you know where that is, but yeah, I lived there till I was 11. Yeah.
I was wrong. I said you're from Florida. I got it
Yeah, I know.
wrong.
It's okay. I was all right. I'm actually now I'm more from California than anywhere because I was counting how many years I've been here. So it actually
Yeah.
outrates all of them now. So yeah, I had a little taste of everything: the Midwest, East Coast, Florida, and because Florida's neither the East Coast or the South. I don't know what it is.
It's its own animal. But just
It
like
is.
Northern California, you've lived, and
Yeah.
it's different than down south here.
Yes. Yes.
Our
Yeah.
state has
Very
many
different. Yeah. Yeah.
personalities.
Yeah.
So what are some tips for just getting started? Because we always have some, Supconnect attracts all kinds of people, including new people. So there might be some aspirational paddlers who haven't even paddled.
Yeah, so I think, go take a lesson. Go find a local place that offers lessons and go do it. Or if you have a friend that paddle boards, ask them if they can take you out and join them. I think that's the best way. I mean, that's how I did. Or get a girlfriend or a boyfriend or a friend or whatever, and hey, you want to go try this, and go try it. Yeah, I think that's the best way. Yeah. And then go take a lesson and and try boards and try paddle, talk to people. That's yeah. I mean, I remember I waited almost a year before I bought my first board, and I bought my first board was a Boga board, and I didn't know Dave and Trish. I didn't know those guys then, the people that owned Boga at the time. But I got the name of a rep or something and called them and said, okay, what do you think about this board? And I didn't have any way to demo it. Because at the time there weren't a whole lot of demo, like even now, there's not a whole lot of ways to demo boards. I mean, and that's really the best way is if you can go to an event. So I was thinking that today. I'm like, a lot of people don't probably even know where to find races, right? I mean, paddleboard races, you hear about them, but how do you hear about them? I mean, so, you and I know that the main place is Paddle Guru. So I was actually going to do a post and just let people know, hey, you don't have to go race. Just go to the events. You can meet people and try boards. And even when I'm at the lagoon, when I'm teaching lessons and people ask me about boards, they'll be like, well, what about inflatables? I'm like, well, if you want to get an inflatable, blah, 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 I'll go ahead and get one, whatever. And if there's people out there that have inflatables, I'm like, hey, why don't we see if they'll let you try their inflatable today? So I'll just ask people at the lagoon too, so if I go places, I'll ask people, hey, can I try your board out? And I offer people to try my boards out too as well. I'm like, oh, you can do it. A lot of times when I do lessons, I'll bring different size boards. And if the people have a fair amount of paddle ability, I'll be like, hey, why don't you try my more narrow, longer, I don't ever bring race boards, but I have a more narrow all arounder that is would be a little more challenging for the beginner. So I'm like, oh, I can't do that. But, it's like, no, you can. And I said, and the worst will happen is you fall in. So, why not do it with me today where you're safe and you got somebody here to coach you. And so anyway, yeah. So those some tips you can do as well. So, yeah.
Great tips. And it is true. I mean, we have such a welcoming population of people in paddling in general. I mean, I've gotten to try other crafts too, because people just say,
right,
sure,
right.
you can jump in mine. But there's not enough of that. But what a good idea to, even if you don't want to race, go to an event like Hano Hano, where we both started, because there are a bunch of booths and there's a ton of boards. Probably not the whole breadth, but there'll be some regular all-arounders and some touring, but a little more focused on race. But still, what a great place to meet people and to possibly test out boards and to check out the whole scene. Because that's how I jumped in, just because I didn't know people to paddle with. I thought I'll go to a race and find people, found actually someone I already knew. Diane Wenzel was there, who I'd gone to high school with. But mainly I got hooked on the whole thing. The whole package, the people, the sport, being outdoors, getting some exercise, and so that's the direction I went right from the beginning. But lots of ways to go, but great place. A tip from Harrison: free paddles are not worth it. We talked last time a lot about paddles because that's a nice investment. That's really important. Once you decide what kind of size you need. If you did get a free paddle with your board, that probably was really heavy and adjustable.
Right.
And
Right.
I agree that that's one of the best things you can invest in to
Right.
keep you happy and healthy and not ruin
Yeah.
your shoulders and
Right.
enjoy it more. Because people sometimes don't know that they're like, oh, this is really a hard sport,
Hmm.
and their paddle's
Yeah.
about 10 times heavier than what a lot
Yeah.
of us use.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. Yeah, and I'll recommend that to people as well if they're getting into it, wanting to do more paddleboarding. I'll say, well, if you can't buy a board now, at least go get a paddle. If you got a place you can rent boards, or you got to wait, go get a good paddle then. So and it's interesting because I use adjustables for my lessons, but then I always have my paddles, my carbon fiber paddles, and so I'll be like, okay, here, I'll have them show them the difference. They're like, oh wow. I said, it's also a couple $100 more, but keeps your shoulders and back, if you're going to be paddling a lot, it's good for you. Yeah.
yeah.
Like this woman yesterday at the lagoon, she's got an aluminum paddle. So her husband's like holding my paddle going, oh my God, honey, did you feel, hold this?
They don't
like,
even know
yeah.
it exists sometimes
Right,
because you just
right.
know what you have and what you get.
Right,
So yeah,
right.
that's
Yeah.
another great part of sharing. And I don't know if this is Jose, who's your teacher, by land and by
Yes.
water. Oh,
Yes.
anyway, he's saying that he has to go, but I
Hi,
didn't realize he was
Jose.
on.
So great to see you, hear from you.
Yeah,
Miss you.
a great instructor. Yeah, absolutely. So, any last thoughts about what you want to do? Is there anything, you name some places you want to go, like Hawaii? I still have never done the Malika Run either.
But you did
And
M2, but you did M2O.
I did, that's right. I
Yeah,
have done a
yeah,
big Hawaii
yeah.
race. Yeah. So I've been to some islands to paddle, but never to Maui, where kind of,
Mm-hmm.
I think of it sort of as a hub, and it's where JC is.
Yes.
So we need to, that's an excuse just there. Just we should
And
visit
she's got a
her,
place
right?
for us to stay too.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
get your
She,
rear over there.
yeah, she's like, okay, can you live in my place, rent my car, use my car? And I'm like, okay, I got to get
Oh,
there. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
amazing. But what about some of these new things? So we were both in fairly early. So a lot of the people who are in it early into anything are always trying the cutting edge. So paddling over, especially the pandemic, has branched off. There's the wing, which is kind of like
Mm-hmm.
windsurfing. I don't know if you did that in the 80s. That was my 80s water sport. But it's separate, so it has some interesting possibilities. And there's, of course, foiling, e-foiling. We were just talking about Sup Love, how she's like, her videos are just amazing of her flying
Oh my
around.
gosh, right? Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful.
Incredible.
Have you
Yeah.
thought of trying any of those things? I mean, time
Thought
and
about
money.
it. Thought about it. Tried to, Chuck Glenn, who does it locally here. I'm like, hey, like talk to a couple people about let's do a group session with Chuck, and it just hasn't really happened yet. So, and it's summer now, almost over. The water's gonna get cold. Got to start wearing wetsuits again. I don't know. Anyway, but I'd love to try it. I mean, I see Rose is out, doing the wing.
Yeah.
And her and her husband. So yeah, I thought about it. I mean, it'd be cool if I could just like meet up and try it with somebody and do it,
I
so
agree.
yeah, it's definitely on my radar to do. I think it'd be really fun. I mean, sometimes we have people in the lagoon. We had a guy kite surfing the other day, like
In the lagoon. Wow.
in the lagoon. He said he got like an hour and a half in, going back and forth. I'm like, wow, really? I mean, you rarely see anyone kite surfing there. So but I mean, you do get some good winds in there, but I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to go out in the ocean by myself either and do it. I mean, so I'd have to pick the lagoon, or you'd have to go like to Lake Hodges. I've heard is good too, and then also there's a place down in Mission Bay around Fiesta Island that a lot of people go to. So yeah,
Good.
yeah, it's
Well, I
like
look forward to
it's
seeing
something
pictures
that,
of you doing it.
yeah, right. It's just something that you got to put the time in. So it's like, do I want something else? I mean, I love SUP because like you just take the board and the paddle and you get on the water. You don't have to connect an Alma. You don't have to bring a wing and inflate it. I don't know. It's yeah.
It is. It's pretty simple. It's interesting that people sometimes say it's an expensive sport, but I don't see it that way at all, because there are those two absolute pieces of equipment. And as Bernie says, every board should come with a leash, the safety equipment. But in general, that's once you have that equipment, the water is free in most places. You might have to pay for parking or something, but it's not like
Mm-hmm.
golf where you're
Mm-hmm.
playing every time you're on a course.
Right. Or skiing, you know,
yeah.
It's so expensive, right? Yeah. Yeah.
You don't have to
Well,
get a
probably
ticket
just
to go do it. You can just go do
Yeah.
it.
Right. I think it's just that initial, you know, buying a board if you want a good board.
Yeah.
But
I think you and I have the same problem. There's so many ways to enjoy stand-up paddling. We enjoy all of them. So when do you have time when you're still enjoying the recreational and the surfing and
right.
the racing?
Right.
When is there
Right.
time to learn the next thing?
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. So it's like, well, yeah. So I've kind of backed off a little bit. Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see.
E-foil, e-bike. Oh yeah. And then there's bikes too, which, you know, we have friends who've invested in that definitely and carry their boards on their e-bikes to get down.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I have an e-bike, but I've never, I have not tried it with the SUP board. I put everything on and I'm like, I just don't know. I'm probably going to crash and burn the minute I go down that little dip at Sano. I'm just like, but Steve uses it now to run the dog.
There you
which
go.
Works.
Many uses of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I just want to remind everybody, and some people already said they're going to join, that Maggie runs a really great Facebook group called SUP Chat for anybody on this call. But also, if you are local, she teaches and runs all kinds of great events. I really want to come down to a Women's Wednesday. I think that's a really great initiative you've started. And if your friends miss this and want to hear all about Maggie, and a lot of people, I know you have lots of fans out there, this is recorded, so it goes immediately to IGTV, and then it will be on 2 YouTubes, both Supconnect's and mine, KT Outside. And Maggie, I just thank you so much for joining me. I know it wasn't what you wanted to. I had to talk her into it a little bit, but you seemed ready to go this time.
That's fine. I just don't like. I'm just not one to talk about myself. That's all.
I know, which is funny because people think of you in person as very outgoing, but you actually have a shy side.
Yeah, I like to talk, but not about myself. So.
Well, we got to talk about you some and the bigger picture of stand-up paddling.
It's all good. Yeah.
So Craig and Mel and lots of people are saying bye and thank you. Joseph Silva, who I know is on SUP Chat too and is a real regular here. Appreciate all of you, and thank you Supconnect for giving us this opportunity every Thursday to chat with people. And I hope to see you very soon. The hoot or sooner.
Cheers.
Cheers. Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.